Well, it's happened again. There was a huge mass shooting up in Michigan, and this guy, he shot a bunch of people, and now everybody's yelling for gun control again, like they always do. Although this particular shooting seems to be disappearing pretty quickly. It doesn't fit their narrative. The guy used a pistol and, what have you. But anyway, we're hearing a lot about mass shootings these days, and we're bombarded with how the U.S. has the most mass shootings in the world, and that we're the only country that has very many of them. So, I decided to discover the truth for myself, and the results might surprise you. Though they didn't surprise me too much, though, because, when you consider the source of all that shit, but hey, que bono. So we're going to look at some statistics, and we're going to make some speculations. Okay, I'm going to start with some statistics here, and they're pretty brief, pretty concise. Here's a New York Post article, and it clearly says here, America doesn't actually lead the world in mass shootings. This was 2018. And let's go on down there. It gives a lot of information, and it cites a lot of sources, but I'm going to condense it down for the sake of brevity into this one little paragraph here, and I'm going to read it for you here. Of the 86 countries where we have identified mass public shootings, the U.S. ranks 56th per capita in its rate of attacks and 61st in mass public shooting murder rate. Norway, Finland, Switzerland, and Russia all have at least 45% higher rates of murder from mass public shootings than the United States. That seems pretty obvious, pretty clear. Here's an article from the Political Insider, February 21st, 2018. Anyway, and it asked the question, does the U.S. really have the most mass shootings? So let's take a look. They gave a handy-dandy little chart here. And as you will see, we don't. Okay, the frequency of mass public shootings comparing European countries to the U.S. and Canada from January 2009 to December 2015. Their frequency per million people. So it's a per capita rate. And the number one country for mass shootings was Macedonia with 0.471. Then Albania, Serbia, Switzerland, Norway, Slovakia, Finland, Belgium, Austria, Czech Republic, France. And then finally the United States at 0.078. So as you can see, we're really not even close to the top. And I did some number crunching on this chart, and I totaled up all the percentages, the per capita percentages of mass shootings in Europe to give some sort of an aggregate total. Europe, the European Union has more people than us, but it's only about 100 million. They have about, have about 450 million people. We have about 350 million people, so it's not that much of a difference. Anyhow, per million mass shootings, you have 2.531 mass shootings per million people. The United States, of course, I've already said, has 0.078. This number, the 2.531, is 32 times higher than the United States. That's significant. Even if you cut that in half, that'd be 16. Cut that in half, it'd be 8. Come on. Assuming these numbers are correct, it's not even close. So as you can see, the information most people are getting seems to be kind of skewed. And, it may be right. Their information, the gun nuts or the gun controllers' information might be correct. Point is, there is legitimate room for discussion. Okay? And then I found this other article here. What is this? Mass Shootings, Fact and Fiction by USCCA. I don't know what that is, but anyway, let's take a look here. Everybody keeps talking about wanting to ban assault rifles and high-capacity magazines because that would significantly eliminate mass shootings. Well, will it? Let's take a look. Here it is. I mean, as you can see, most mass shootings are used but with a handgun only, with handguns. And 13% of mass shootings are done with rifles or assault rifles. So that tells you right there that outlawing assault rifles isn't going to make any kind of a dent. You know, there's nothing that you can do with an assault rifle that you can't just as easily do with a pistol. All you have to do is get a few clips, walk in and start banging away, and you can do the same amount of damage. And here we go back to the number of mass shootings. Fact or fiction, the U.S. accounts for more than 30% of mass public shootings compared to other developed countries. And that's wrong, because here it says, let me read you what this says. Okay. Although you may see sensational headlines to the contrary when compared to other developed countries in accounting for population differences, through the 47 years from 1966 to 2012, the U.S. makes up less than 1.43% of mass public shooters' population. It also accounts for 2.11% of attackers' murders and 2.88% of the attacks. So, you know, even if you throw off the first 10 years or so of that, I think you can see that, you know, the numbers are being skewed. Also, look at here. Mass shooters tend to choose so-called gun-free zones for attack. Fact or fiction? Well, as appears, that's fact. Using the GunFacts Info MPS database, which contains the 71% MPS, using the FBI definition, documented in the U.S. between 1988 and August 4th, 2019, 85% of mass public shootings have been perpetrated in gun-free zones. So these sons of bitches, you know, they're obviously picking areas where they know they're not going to encounter any resistance. You know, how can you argue with the immense power projected by the corporate power establishment? You know, I'm giving you some facts and figures, but for the life of me, it's like spitting into the wind. Very discouraging, but I'm still going to do it anyway. So, I've shown that statistics contradict the common misconception of how the United States has the most mass shootings. Okay? But that begs the question of why it's a common misconception in the first place. Why does the corporate establishment want you to think that? Obviously, they're trying to disarm everyone, but have you noticed that they only talk about military-style rifles when we've seen that most mass shootings are perpetrated with pistols? Why just rifles? Could it be that they don't want people to be able to resist the butt raping they'd be giving us without them? You think? Well,